Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It's 12 o'clock on a Sunday, which means it's time for a Q&A. Now, this is where I take all the questions that you've asked over the course of the week and I try to answer them to the best of my ability. So first of all, a couple of things. First of all, thank you so much for joining me on this Q&A. I really appreciate it. I always say this every Sunday, but if you've checked out any videos on Magic TV, if you've interacted with any videos, if you've made any comments or anything, I really appreciate it. This channel would not exist if it wasn't for you guys. Second of all, if you want a guarantee to get your question answered, please make sure you get it in. Ideally by the Monday, but the Tuesday generally is okay. I film these normally on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, so I need to have all the questions in by then, but sometimes it's earlier. Like I'm currently filming this at kind of almost 11 o'clock at night on a Monday, Bank Holiday Monday, because I'm off to Blackpool tomorrow, because Ryland's performing at the House of Secrets. So you never know what's going on. So please make sure you get the questions in as soon as possible. And finally, I'm not reading these questions ahead of time. I don't know what they're going to be about. You're getting my raw, unfiltered opinion. If any of the questions I think make a longer video, would make a good longer video, I will do that at some point down the line. Now, with that all out the way, it's question answering time. There's a bunch of questions, so let's get straight into it for this week's Q&A. Okay, so the first person is Division Magician, who says, how do you explain to people, get people to accept that sometimes it's okay if you see the card? I was doing a trick where I needed to see a card, and she was like, no, what's the point then? I tried explaining that in this case it doesn't matter, but she was insisting on not showing me. I tried the I've seen this trick before gag, but it just didn't work. She said, it's not magic if you see the card. So I then moved on to a different routine where you don't need to see it. But that was a shame because I really wanted to try the trick I had planned. What would you do here? So that's a great question. And there's a couple of things to bear in mind. So the first thing is, this won't happen if you preempt it ahead of time. And what I mean by that, when you're going into a routine where it's fine for you to see what the card is, build that into the presentation. So you could say, hey, you've probably seen a lot of magicians before, and they get you to pick a card, they don't look at it, and they tell you what the card is, right? That's how most magicians do card tricks. I'm going to do something a little bit different. This really isn't like your normal card trick. In fact, it doesn't matter whether I see the card or not. I'm allowed to see it. So by saying that, you're actually making the trick more interesting and intriguing by the fact that you're seeing the card, because you're going to be doing something a little bit different. Also, it means that they would come across as a massive dick if they still carried on and said, no, you're not allowed to see it, when you've basically just told them you're allowed to see the card. So that's the first thing that you can do. And as a kind of an extension to that, if the routine you have planned allows you to do that, because I don't know what the routine is, therefore I don't know what the setup of the routine is, but if the routine allows you to do this, I would even have the cards picked from a face-up deck. So I'd do that little presentation and talk about, hey, it doesn't matter if you see the card, and then spread the deck face up and say, hey, touch one, take one. Which one would you like? Oh, the 7 of diamonds. You sure you want that one? Perfect. The other thing that you can do is you can, if it's a free choice, if they're allowed to take any card, the other option that you could do is you could have them name a card. And again, you could build that into a presentation. You could say, look, a lot of magicians will have you pick a card, but maybe if I have you pick a card, there's a way I can make you pick a particular one. So I'm going to have you name any one of the 52 cards in the pack. What would you like to pick? First of all, what suit would you like? Now, what value would you like? Okay, now that's completely free choice, right? Brilliant. And then you take it out yourself. So you're using the fact that you're allowed to see it by making it feel like an even better trick by having them name the card. Now, if you've not done any of that and they've picked a card and you're in the situation that you were before where she's saying, no, what's the point then? There's a couple of different options. The first option is doing what you did, which is fine. Oh, okay, no problem. I'll do it. I'm not going to look at it then, and just going into a different trick. Absolutely fine. That's the first option. The second option is if they say that, you go, okay, no problem. That's fine. Put the card in the pack. And what you're going to do is you're going to control the card to the bottom. Now, I would use a convincing control in this case, and then an all-round square up. So that's going to allow me to peek what the card is that they've taken. So they've took the card, they're refusing to tell you what it is, put it into the deck, convincing control to the bottom, all-round square up. That's going to tell you what the card is, and then you can go, right, okay, concentrate on your card. Obviously, you didn't let me know what the card is, so I'm going to have to read your mind. It's a black card, it's a 7, it's the 7 of clubs. Your card was the 7 of clubs, right? Let's go through the deck and find the card, and I'm going to show you something else with it. And now you go into the routine that you were going to go into. You've just added a little bit of an extra trick by telling them what the card is. You could, as you've controlled the card to the bottom, if you wanted to, you could cop that card off with a gambler's cop or a side steal or something. And you could say, I don't even understand how you pick the 7 of clubs, to be honest, because that's the one in my pocket. And you can kind of go in that direction as well. So those are the options. Those are the different ways. You know, the bottom line is you don't want to kind of antagonize the spectator too much. You are going to get people like that think that the idea of a card trick is that you need to tell them what the card is. And if you get somebody like that, just go with it. Just go with the flow. Just, you know, either move on or build that into the routine that you're doing. Okay, so the next question is from Nick Magic, who says, "Hi Craig, hope you're well. Once again, thanks for all the work you're doing. I'm going to perform at a friend's wedding party. As my first public gig, it will be a small set, more as a present for the couple. And as a massive part of it is thanks to you. Oh, man, I'm so glad about that. It'll be more on the comedy side. Starting with your linking rings. Lucky I'm a Netrix member. Amazing stuff there. Thanks, man. We're putting even more stuff into the stage section of the Netrix coming up soon. You're going to be blown away. Then the balloon swallow, your signature rope trick. Then the royal couple by Gustavo Sereno. And then, finish with the suit jacket escape. Man, that's a strong set. The linking rings is a good choice to open with as well. I think that's a really good opener. Although maybe I would put the balloon swallow in first. I'd put the balloon swallow in first if I were you. But, you know, whatever. I think that's a really strong set. like you say, there's 3 routines there that I actually do myself. I hope I didn't need to pay you for a fee for performing so much Craig Betty stuff. No, not at all. You just need to wear a black t-shirt and a check shirt, and then that's fine. You're okay. And now, sorry for the lengthy post, I've got a question. Just watched Larry Davidson doing half a hole, a transposition between a $50 and a Chinese coin with a special gimmicked coin, like 2 shells or shimmer a shell, not sure if the names are correct, fitting one into the other, essentially to put a piece of flesh-coloured paper inside to mimic the skin colour when presenting the Chinese side to the audience while using the Chinese dollar combination coin. If purple and green coins could do it with a copper silver, but I like the thought of transitioning from apparition to that half-hole transpo. Do you know the trick / gimmick? Reached out to Jamie Schoolcraft, who's mentioned it's by Larry Davidson, but so far no answer. P.S. Thanks and have a good one. P.S. If you're lecturing in the Netherlands, you'll have to come down to Stuttgart and do a gig lecture here. Thanks again. Right, okay, so what you're talking about there is the Chinatown half. And the Chinatown half is a very old gimmick. And what the Chinatown half is basically is it's a double-sided coin. So on one side of the coin, you've got a Chinese coin. On the other side of the coin, you've got a silver coin, like a $50 or a dollar, and you've got inside there you can have whatever you want. So you can have it flesh colored, so when you put it Chinese side up on the palm of your hand, it'll look like a Chinese coin. If you put it silver side up on the palm of your hand, it'll look like a silver coin. If you want to, you could use a black handkerchief and put a piece of black inside there and make it look like it's got a hole in when you put it on the handkerchief. You can have you can have a little envelope, maybe a blue envelope, for example, and have some blue inside there. There's a lot of different options in terms of how you actually use this gimmick. So that's the Chinatown half. It's been around for a long time. In fact, way back in the day, I brought out a trick called Keymaster Reloaded. Now, this is way before I brought out Keymaster with Penguin. I originally brought out Keymaster with World Magic Shop, and then the following year I brought Keymaster Reloaded out, and then everything went away until the Penguin Magic version came out. But Keymaster Reloaded was the idea of using that same Chinatown half principle, but built into a key, and I supplied multiple gaffs. One had a hole in the head, half a hole, so from one side it looked like there was a hole in the key, on the other side it looked like there was no hole. I had a really cool one where there was half a hole in the head and half a hole in the stem, so it looked like it was an instant travel of the hole down the key, because you'd show a normal key, and just by closing your hand and opening it, the hole would actually move down, which was really cool. So yeah, the Chinatown half has been around for a long time, and you can get them from magic dealers. However, I don't know if it would match the Chinese coin with Apparition and with Mirage. Here is what I would do, without giving too much away. We are on track to bring out the 4th coin set in the Elite coin range by Christmas this year. So the first coin set was the Mirage coin set, the second coin set was the Apparition coin set, the third coin set was Nightshade, and obviously each one is completely different to the other one. You know, they're all completely different. I've been working on the 4th coin set for quite a long time now. We're on track to have it released by the end of this year. And put it this way, I'd hold off on getting any sort of Chinatown half, because part of the coin set is going to be taking the Chinatown half into a completely different direction. You wouldn't even realize it was a Chinatown half, but that is part of the concept with the coin set. But there's a lot more to it as well. I can't really say any more, because it's obviously, I'm in the situation at the moment where I'm gigging all of the different routines that come with it, and we're still a long way out from it coming to market. But it will be designed to match all the elite coin range tricks. So if you want to hold off, I would personally hold off if I were you. That's what I would suggest. But if you don't want to, yeah, what you're looking for is a Chinatown half. Okay, so the next question is from Brizelfa, who says, will there be a Zero to Hero episode with Matt learning coin magic through your amazing coin sets? You know what? I think that would be a really good shout, because Matt's a mentalist, so he does mentalism, but I genuinely think learning sleight of hand, especially sleight of hand with small objects like coins and so on and so forth, can be a massive help to any mentalist, because there's a lot of things that you can do. If you can switch a coin, there's a lot of things that you're going to be able to do, right? There's a lot of things that you're going to be able to perform. There's a lot of things that open up to you. Billet switches and so on and so forth, and lots of other things. So yes, the answer is, I think that would be a really good idea. I hadn't thought about it, but you've given me a great idea here. And I think it would be an amazing thing for Matt to do as well, because I think it would give him another string to his bow. So yeah, we'll look into that. I think that'd be a really good series. Okay, so the next question is from Dave Chiardi, who says, hi Craig, does the Nightshade coin set hopping half routine have enough coins that you can make them appear inside the quiver at the end of the trick? Good question. Yeah, there's like 3 different versions of hopping halves. There's the 2 coin trick, there's the Nightshade hopping halves, there's lots of different ones. And I'm pretty sure all of them would, because you got the gimmick and you got the thing. Yeah, I think all of them would. In fact, I carry around my Nightshade in a quiver an awful lot, set up to do the ultimate copper silver routine, and then I transition from that into a bunch of other routines. But I open with the ultimate copper silver and actually use a quiver. In fact, I should put that on Magic TV. If you guys are interested in seeing how you can actually combine a quiver with Nightshade, let me know. Okay, so the next question is from Jonah Berg, who said, I was watching your Wizard Magic review of your Wizard Magic review of the Magical Arts Journal on YouTube, and you talked about 10 years ago that the business information was outdated. So I assume it's way outdated now. Anyway, you said in your last Q&A that it's a good magazine. Is it worth picking up? Yeah, I completely forgotten I reviewed that like a decade ago. But I did, didn't I? Yeah, with David Penn. Yeah, the business information is out of date. Very, very out of date. It'd be even more out of date now. But a lot of the information in the Magical Arts Journal isn't just business related. There's a lot of information in there about performing and about how to perform and about how to be a good performer. There's a lot of theory in there as well, but also there's a ton of really great magic tricks, like a ton of really, really great magic tricks. So if you're buying a book specifically to learn about marketing, I wouldn't go with the Magical Arts Journal, but there's so much more in there that you can learn from Michael Amar. It's absolutely worth picking up. Okay, so the next question is Yuri, who says, "Hi Craig, thanks once again for answering my questions this last week and taking the time for everybody. Really hope I'm not asking too much because I have more questions if you don't mind." I absolutely don't mind. That's what this whole video is for, 100%. Thanks for asking them. I was wondering if you'd ever made a video or planning to make one about tricks stroke mentalism we can do with our own body or the spectator's body. Tricks we can do, for example, in the middle of a desert with nothing on us and nothing from the spectator to borrow, and no cheating. Those amazing tattoos of yours don't count. I've never made a video like that, but it's actually a really interesting use of a video. I think that would be really cool. Obviously, when you're thinking about tricks with your body, the first thing that comes to mind is Mir Yedid. So if you don't know, Mir Yedid he made a name for himself, like doing routines with his fingers. Finger Fantasies, the DVD was called. And he was the first person to make fingers vanish and jump from one place to another. And then obviously off the back of that, you had Will Houston come out. And Will Houston did Freak, which was like you taking your finger and bending it in really horrible ways that like freaks people out. And then off the back of that, Nicholas Lawrence did the thing where you pull off the finger and then put it back on again. And since then, there's been a bunch of other things to do with fingers getting pulled off and put in various different places. But I think Will Houston and Nicholas Lawrence were the first people to kind of go down that route. Other things with people's bodies. I mean, do you count that routine that people use to open a stage show where they have people link their hands and they can't turn them over? If you count that, then that's a really good one. Something that my friend Nemid Phoenix does all of the time in his stage show is something that Woody Garrigan does, which is, it's kind of this thing where everybody holds up their hand and he gets the entire audience at the same time to think of a finger and then eliminate fingers one by one. And it's structured in such a way that it ends up with the entire audience giving you the finger, which is a really, really cool. I've seen Nemid do that and bring the house down with it. It's really good. And then you've got the old carnival stunts, the old carny stunts, like taking away someone's ability to lift somebody up, or taking away someone's strength, or being able to push somebody over just with a finger and all that sort of stuff. All those carny stunts have been very popular over the years. I guess you've kind of got the Belducci levitation, which David Blaine popularized all those years ago, where, they kind of float up and it's a ungimmicked levitation. In fact, talking about David Blaine, you don't see people doing it these days, but David Blaine popularized the arm twister, where you put your arm on your on the floor and you literally twist it around in a 360-degree angle. That used to be all the rage back in the day when David Blaine first burst on the scene and illusionists were kind of doing their thing. That arm twister was something that I saw everybody doing. I don't really see anyone doing it or talking about it these days, but it's still a very popular. It looks good. Put it that way, it looks really good. I don't know why nobody's doing that anymore. That's just literally off the top of my head. So off the top of my head, thinking it through, those are some things that would definitely fit what you're talking about there, Yuri. But I'll do a video on that. I think that's something that you could really have an interesting video on. And really bring up some stuff that people haven't been doing for a while. So I'll do a video on it at some point in the next few weeks, but thank you very much for the suggestion. Got another question from Yuri. So the next question is from Yuri, who says, another question I've had is maybe a bit of a bold question. You recently started a new series called The Creative Process, in which you combine a random effect and a random prop given by the community. Now, you also mentioned that you're working on multiple projects, some of which involve trick decks. And my question, therefore, is, would you ever consider using ideas given by the community for certain effects in your projects, kind of like the creative process? Lastly, seeing how busy you are doing so much for the magic industry and how much you care about the community, I just genuinely wanted to see if you're doing all right. I'm certain that I speak for everyone when I say that I really care about you and that we'd love to check up on you too and see how you and your family are doing. You and Ryland are absolutely killing it out there. Hope you guys know you're both a true inspiration to me and lots of other magicians, beginners to pro, young and old. Hope you guys never stop doing what you're doing. We're not planning on stopping anytime soon, and I really appreciate that last question. I'm doing great, mate. I'm doing really well. I'm good. Thank you very much for asking. But in terms of your idea of kind of having people, consider using ideas given by the community for certain effects in your projects, that's an interesting idea. The only problem is there's a little bit of a difference between the video, the creative process, and a project that I'm selling to the magic community. If I'm selling a trick to the magic community, I want it to be really well thought out. The thing with the creative process is I sit there for an hour and I come up with what I think is a good trick that fits the parameters that I'm working to. But it's by no means a finished trick. In order to get that to a point where it would need to be marketed, it would take weeks and months, if not years. Some of the stuff that you see coming out now from me started 2.5, 3 years ago, if not longer. So I don't know how that would work, because would you ever consider using ideas given by the community for certain effects in the project? I wouldn't like to be pigeonholed into a particular type of effect. I've got this thing coming out soon. It's the Svengali project with Alakazam. And I love that project. I really do. Svengali deck's one of my favorite gimmick decks. But if somebody said, hey, you're doing a Svengali project, can I see a trick on this? I wouldn't want to kind of do that, because that's kind of forcing my creativity, which is fine. I can do that. It's kind of forcing me to go in a different direction, but that might not be the best thing for the project. We could take suggestions, but also, I don't really announce, even though people go, oh, Craig hypes his tricks. I don't really announce what I'm working on until it's ready to hit the market. I don't really do that. If you think about it, when I start talking about something, it's normally because it's just about to hit the market. So a lot of the time, it wouldn't work because people don't know what I'm working on, if that kind of makes sense. So I don't know is the answer. I could try it and, maybe mention it on some videos and see what people think. But I wouldn't want to guarantee that any suggestions would actually make it into the final product. Okay, so the next question is from Jonah Berg, who says, what are the best coin magic books of all time? It's a great question. I actually have a list here because I'm actually doing a video on that. So I'm not going to give you all of the books that are on this list, but I do have a couple of books that I can talk about. Obviously, you've got Modern Coin Magic by J.B. Bobo, which is, Bobo's Modern Coin Magic, absolutely incredible. We have Expert Coin Magic by David Roth, which is equally as good. If not better. It is probably the Bible. It is the best coin magic book of all time. Then you've got Coin Magic by Richard Kaufman, which is an eclectic range of coin magic from a variety of different contributors. As good now as it was when it came out in the 80s or 90s or whenever it was. Excuse me. What else have we got here? Rubenstein's Coin Magic from 2020, which is great. It's as good as the Roth books, but in a completely different direction. Michael Rubenstein goes in a very different direction to David Roth. Long Kiss Goodnight. Is it Long Kiss Goodnight? Yeah, Long Kiss Goodnight by Jeff Latter is brilliant and absolutely worth getting. You've got Essential Soul Stone by Stephen Hobbs. Introduction to Coin Magic by Shiego Futagawa, potentially, maybe. And we've got Coin Magic, the complete book of coin tricks by Gene Huggard. Now, all of those are great books, and this is the list that I'm actually working through at the moment because I'm putting a video on this together. But there's others on the list. I'll leave you that. This will probably be coming out in the next week or two because I've already started kind of putting it together and thinking about what to say about each thing. But if I was going to name just one coin magic book, it would probably be Expert Coin Magic by David Roth. Okay, so the next question is from Jay Plays, who says, do you plan to review Espionage by Marvel Magic? It's a new magnet detector, and it would be great to hear your thoughts on it, particularly if you can compare it to Flux. Absolutely 100%. I've had a few people ask me to do that, so that will be coming very, very soon. Yes, 100%. I will be reviewing that. I just need to get hold of one. I'm planning on ordering it this week. But yes, I will be reviewing Espionage. Okay, another question from Jay Plays that says, do you do any routines in your show that uses gimmicked padlocks, either a combination lock or using keys? If so, which padlock do you use? I've got the one, is it the Sherlock? I think it's the Sherlock. I reviewed it a little while ago. Big, massive padlock, and it's operated with a remote control. Pretty sure it's Sherlock. Can't remember for sure. I'm pretty sure it's Sherlock. And that is incredible. That's really good. Now, I don't do it in my stage show. I have done it in close-up a few different times. And it's not something that I would typically do very often. But I would be more than happy to do it. If I had it in my case and I had to do it, I'd be more than happy to do it. That's really the only one that I do. For a while, I did the Michael Moree version. If you know Michael Moree's version of the padlock trick, which uses a combination padlock. I did that for a while. Haven't done that probably since the pandemic, in all honesty. But I did do that for a long while. That was really good. It just kind of fell out. The padlock concept, the whole idea of, having a padlock and having them figure out which key it is or working out the combination is a nice plot, but it's something that doesn't really resonate with me that much. So it's not something that I've done many times. I've played around with it and I've had it in my show, taken it out my show, put it in my show. At the moment, there's nothing really that I'm doing, but yeah, it's a good routine. If I was going to do a show and I had to do a padlock trick right now, I'd do the Sherlock trick by, I'm sure it's Kellogg. That is probably the best one on the market, in my opinion. Okay, one more question from Jay Plays that says, in a previous Q&A from a while ago, I think you mentioned you were planning on doing a longer video about all the different apps you use for magic and the routines you do with each. Is this still something you're planning on doing? Any idea where you might be releasing it? Thanks again for everything you do for the community. Yes, it's half filmed. I just need to finish it off. So it should be coming out, I would say, this month. So I'm filming this in April. It should be coming out in April, I would imagine, and it'll probably be a big Friday video or something, because it'll be a long one. It'll be about an hour and a quarter long, because we're going to go through a bunch of different apps and different routines you can do with them. So yes, it's half filmed. It's just one of those videos that are going to take a lot longer to film than others. But yes, it is coming, and I'm definitely still doing that video. Okay, so the next question is again from Jonah Berg, who says, what are your top 5 Kaufman and Greenberg books of all time, or the Kaufman and Company books of all time? I've actually got a page up about that as well, because that's another thing that I'm actually putting a video together for. And I have here The Amazing Miracles of Xiego Tiagi, Gary Kurtz's Unexplainable Acts. I have Williamson's Wonders by obviously Dave Williamson, The Complete Works of Derek Dingle by Richard Kaufman, and Derek Dingle, obviously, and Totally Out of Control by Chris Kenner. Now, I've actually got a list of 10, but they're 5 of the 10. That is another video that's coming soon, but if you want 5, those are 5 of what I think to be the best books that Kaufman and Greenberg or Kaufman and Company have ever produced. Okay, so another question by Jonah Berg. Jay Sankey or David Regal, who do you think is the more prolific creator of magic? Prolific, probably Jay Sankey. There was a time where he was bringing out tricks almost every single day, and even now he's bringing out stuff all of the time. But I would say that David Regal is a close second, and I think if you're taking into consideration the quality of effects, like you're saying prolific, so I'm basing this purely on the amount of stuff that's come out. But if you're talking about quality over quantity, I'd definitely go with David Regal. You know, Sankey's got some great stuff, but he's got no filter. He's also got some terrible stuff, some truly terrible stuff. It's very rare to find a bad David Regal trick. The man really thinks through things and just has it, as far as I'm concerned. So I would say David Regal. And also the other thing is, you see a David Regal trick, generally you're seeing a live performance at somewhere like the Castle. I'm sick to death of seeing Jay's videos of him just in his kitchen with a laptop there, and he's just narrating through what the trick is. You know, he's a really great performer. I don't understand why he doesn't do live performances. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So I would say definitely David Regal. Next question again from Jonah Berg. What are your thoughts on Principia by Harapanong? Are you going to review it at some point? I have reviewed it. I think it was about 2 years ago, maybe a little bit longer. And I think it's an incredible book. I think it's brilliant. I think Harapanong is a great magician, and I think that Principia is very, very good. And I would highly recommend it to anybody. If you go look on YouTube, you'll find my review. It was a couple of years ago now, but it's definitely up there. Again, another question from Jonah Berg, who says, do you think the Tarbell course is still required reading for any magician? And is it more focused on stage work and also close-up? I think that the Tarbell course is great, and it's something that you can dip in and out of. And what I mean by that is if you're needing information on a specific subject, there's a very good chance it'll be in Tarbell. So having all of those books is a fantastic kind of thing to have in your library, because it's going to have information on anything that you need. But I would say if you really kind of want to see an updated version of Tarbell, I would suggest looking at what Dan Harlan did with Penguin Magic. So if you don't know, Dan produced a series of videos for Penguin Magic. He basically took every single lesson in Tarbell and turned it into video with live performances. And I don't think anyone else could do that other than Dan Harlan. The guy is just absolutely insane from a creative point of view. He really is. Like, he went to the trouble of building all of the illusions, building all of the props. And, you know, it's amazing. And why everybody in Magic hasn't bought Dan Harlan's kind of reimagining of the Tarbell course, I don't know. Because you can actually have it drip fed to you through Penguin Magic. So you can subscribe to it on Penguin Magic and they'll drip feed like a lesson every single week. And he's updated a lot of the stuff in there because Tarbell's a little bit older. There is some material in there that's maybe a bit out of date compared to what we see these days. And so what Dan did is he completely updated everything as well. So it's 100% worth getting. Okay, so the next question is from Matthew Wennell, who says, hi, Craig. Happy WrestleMania weekend. Who's your pick for Cody versus Roman? Where would you recommend learning card sleight of hand for beginners? Okay, a book and or download. And also, I can't seem to find where to buy a Magic stage briefcase. Do you know where I can buy one? Wow, that's some strange, eclectic questions. Right, okay, let's go through these one at a time. Who do I think is going to win between Cody and Roman? I think Cody. I think, honestly, what's going to happen is Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins are going to lose to The Rock and Roman Reigns. And I think that Cody will be pinned by The Rock. But I think he's going to win the following night in the match against Roman Reigns. Don't know how he'll win, but I think he'll win. And I think the reason that's going to happen is because the thing that everybody's talking about is Cody versus Rock. So by Cody being pinned by The Rock in the tag match, it sets up like a SummerSlam later on in the year sort of event where Cody gets to go one-on-one against The Rock. And I think there'll be a massive build-up to that as well. So that's basically what I think is going to happen with WrestleMania. And I am very, very excited. By the time you watch this, you'll kind of know if I'm right, or you'll know the first night if I'm right anyway. Where would you recommend learning card sleight of hand for beginners? The Card College books are good. Card College 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get all of them and go through them in order. Also, oh my gosh. I'm really sorry. I've completely drawn a blank. Card College is a great book in terms of downloads. I mean, the Netrix is amazing. The Netrix has got a card section. It's got a whole section on card magic and how to learn card magic and all the different sleights and so on and so forth. Absolutely, definitely worth looking into the Netrix. Yeah, I know what I was thinking of. Another great book is Mark Wilson's Complete Course in Magic. I mean, it's not just card magic, but it will help you and literally guide you, handhold you through how to start getting into card magic. So that's also worth looking at. So I'd say Mark Wilson's Complete Course of Magic, the Card College books. In terms of downloads, I don't really know, to be perfectly honest. I can't think of a download that kind of goes through the basics of card magic. I can't think of anything. So I would recommend going for Card College anyway. That's where I would suggest that you go. Also, you can't seem to find where to buy a Magic Stage briefcase. Prop Dog have a whole bunch of different briefcases that are designed for stage. So you might want to have a look at Prop Dog. They're a good place to start. So there you go. That's all your questions answered. Hopefully that helps. Okay, so the next question is Divishan Magician again, who says, what's your opinion on David Penn's inversion holder for chop cup loads? Is it useful or is it running when not being chased because it keeps the load in your pocket? Because keeping the load in your pocket is just as fine. Yeah, look, the inversion holder is great. I've seen Dave work it and it works exactly as you would expect it to. It does what it says on the tin. If you get it, you know what you're going to get. You ain't going to be disappointed. The inversion holder works. I haven't got one. I'm not going to use one. I don't need one. If I'm going to do chop cup, I'm going to shove the final load in my pocket or my back pocket. And that's just going to be the easiest way for me to get around that. So I don't think that you need it specifically for chop cup. You can also get ball holders and have them under your jacket if you're wearing a jacket. Obviously, you know, by having them in your pocket as well, you don't need to wear a jacket. You know, you can have them just in your pocket. With the inversion holder, you do need a jacket on or something to cover the back of your whatever outfit you're wearing. So I would say, yeah, I would say don't bother with it. To be honest, Divishan, I don't think that you need it. Knowing you as I do, I think that, yeah, just stick them in your pocket. You'll be fine. Okay, so the next question is from Golden Knights Fan 84, who says, hey Craig, I was watching former pro wrestler turned commentator stroke magician Nigel McGuinness, and he has been doing a mentalism style trick with different wrestlers where he uses suggestion in order to sap their strength and be able to lift a spectator. And I was wondering where would be the best place to learn this trick. It's an old stunt. It's an old, like, Carney stunt where you can take people's strength away from them. 3 sources. So the first place that I actually saw someone talk about this in the context of magic routine is a guy called Bruce Bernstein, I think it is. And it's in a book called Perception is Everything. I'm sure it's Bernstein. Perception is Everything. And I'm pretty sure the trick's called The Ritual. So it's over there. I could have a look, but Perception is Everything. Bruce Bernstein, The Ritual. That kind of is what you're talking about. However, Rick Lax did some simple stuff like this. Rick Lax brought out something through Penguin a little while ago, and it was a routine for the tear no tear paper, where he's got a tear no tear pad. So obviously every other page can be torn or not torn. And he's got this whole routine where he takes their strength away from them. And then the tear, no tear thing is designed to kind of support that. So the piece of paper, he gets them to write strength on one side of the paper. And he gets them to fold it up. And he gets some sign of weakness, I think, weak on the other paper. And he gets them to hold the weak paper and he can tear it. And then the strength one, they can't. or the other way around, something like that. And then eventually he gives their strength back to them. But he teaches a couple of carny stunts in there as well on how to take people's strength away from their arms. So it's worth looking at that as well. And then the other person, and I don't know if this is still available, but he is active on social media. Stephen Ablett had a DVD out many years ago called Body Tricks, where he went through a bunch of routines with your body. In there, I'm pretty sure he covered some of these stunts as well. Now, Stephen Ablett used to be very prolific and release stuff all of the time. But I think these days he focuses on performing. But if you contact Stephen, he's on Facebook, or you can just Google Amazing Stephen, send him an email. He might be able to have it as a download or know where you can get it from. But it's called Body Tricks by Stephen Ablett. So Stephen Ablett, Body Tricks, The Ritual by Bruce Bernstein, from Perception is Everything, and Rick Lax's presentation for the Tear No Tear pad, which you can get from Penguin Magic. Right, there you go. That's probably where you need to get. Between those three, you'll have everything you need to be able to basically do the same thing. Okay, so the next question is from Keegan Emirate, who says, "Hi Craig, wanted to ask you about a prop I remember you mentioning during your Penguin Masterclass on restaurant residences. You had mentioned some sort of click-style pen that could switch between normal ink and friction ink. I can't remember off the top of my head how you put that together, but is that something you could explain? If not on this video, for the sake of keeping it a secret, how could I contact you directly to private message you about it? Thanks." Yeah, okay, so the trick is by Etienne Pradier. I'm looking good. Here, got it. Aha! And it's called the Cossack pen, C-O-S-A-C-K pen, the Cossack pen. An excellent tool to add to any routine. With the help of a lighter, you'll be able to make the chosen card or word appear on a business card, and the best bit is you can prepare the prediction on the spot. Yeah, so it's a pen basically, and you can click in between friction and normal ink. It's called the Cossack pen. I'm seeing it listed in a few different magic shops. It's out of stock at Vanishing Ink, but it seems to be in stock at Alakazam. You could also reach out to Etienne himself. His magic shop is offline, but he might have stock. It's something that you might want to ask him. But yeah, you're after the Cossack pen by Etienne Pradier, and that's exactly what you're going to need. Okay, so the next question is from Ian Walton, who says, "Hi Craig, thanks so much once again for answering my perverted questions. I've told my wife that after speaking to the god of magic, size does not matter, and it's just how you use it." This is very true. Marriage counselling can be a sideline for you. I absolutely love the Nightshade coin set, and although every one of the coin sets are amazing, Nightshade tops them all. I have, since last weekend, decided to never part with my apparition set, as it's a thing of beauty. So, looking forward to your combining video. You really do go above and beyond when you release Magic. You deserve to be Creator of the Year. My vote's already in for you, and also Gatekeeper, which I have and love. Thank you so much, Ian. And yeah, I'm putting the finishing touches to the Academy, which I think will be happening at the end of April. So look out for that. That's going to be happening at the end of April. I'm very excited about it. There's going to be some amazing stuff in there. So yeah, and you like Nightshade, each one gets better, I think. Mirage was great, Apparition is even better, Nightshade's even better. You wait till you see the fourth one. I am excited, I really am. I've been gigging it this last week. Oh my god, the reactions. Anyway, I'm not going to be a tease, but yeah, all good. Okay, so the next question is MCK Magic, who says, "Hi Craig, would you recommend someone under 18 purchasing a fire wallet or flash paper? Obviously, it's not dangerous per se, but the warning on the shops like Alakazam can put people off." Look, it very much depends on the person that's under 18. Ryland doesn't use any flash products, really. I'm trying to think. He doesn't really use... a little bit, but not really. No, not really. A little bit. Look, ultimately, at the end of the day, it's down to the parents of the child. Obviously, the magic shops have to be careful because, you know, you don't want a kid that doesn't know what they're doing using flash paper, because it's ultimately going to potentially cause a problem. Ryland has been, Ryland spends a lot of time rehearsing. So if you've seen his Harry Potter act, you'll know that as part of the Harry Potter act, he does a fire book. So there's this moment where he's making flames appear on candles by magic. And he does this and he does this, and he's using blaze candles. And then he's got the book, and then the book lights on fire as well, which looks amazing. So obviously, you know, there's he spent a long time practicing that, right, and under supervision, and he knows, you know, he's been on stage long enough to know he doesn't be silly with fire or anything like that. We spent a long time teaching him and making him understand that. So as a parent, I'm comfortable with Ryland using that sort of stuff in his act, but you have to be careful, right? You have to be careful, and it's really down to every independent. You know, if someone, if you're just giving a kid some flash paper and saying, there you go, here's a flash paper, here's a lighter, go for yourself, go, you know, figure it out. That's probably not a good idea. I think you need to make them understand the dangers of using fire and how to use it correctly, and I think you'll be okay. Okay, another question from Jonah Berg, who says, what do you enjoy more, a great close-up magic trick or a great stage illusion one? If you're talking about me performing, I think I prefer stage magic. And the reason I do, and I've talked about this on the channel before, so I'll briefly mention it now. When I'm doing close-up, and let's say I'm doing a couple of hours close-up at a wedding, which is what I've done. I've done like 4 close-up jobs this last week. When you go to a close-up job, you're going up to a group of people. They could be the best audience in the world, but I know that 5 minutes later, I'm going to have to go somewhere else and win another group of people over, and then another group of people over. And I have to keep winning people over the whole time. I can't spend much time with each group because I have to move on. So when I'm routining effects together, when I'm thinking about how to actually link routines together, I can't really be too theatrical because I'm not going to have time. And if I'm doing something like a drink reception or a photo reception, you know, people could get dragged off at any point. So there's that factor to take into consideration as well. When you are doing stage magic, you walk out on stage, you grab the attention of the audience, you then have them for 45, 50 minutes, however long, and you can take them on a journey theatrically. You can build a lot of theatrical points into a performance on stage that you wouldn't be able to do in a close-up environment. So as much as I love close-up, I prefer doing a stage show. I prefer doing a grand illusion show. But in terms of what I enjoy more watching as a spectator, I love them both. I love watching stage magic. I also love watching a really good close-up magician. So, you know, I love it. I love it all. I love magic. What can I say? Okay, so the next question is again from Jonah Berg, who says, can you help me with the diagonal palm shift? Yeah, but this isn't the video to do that on. This is not the video to explain how to do the diagonal palm shift. Maybe I'll do like a 5x5. 5 ways to steal a card out the deck. We can cover the diagonal palm shift. We can cover a couple of Michael Close's ways of doing it, where you're taking them into bottom palm, which I think are quite cool. I don't see many people doing. We can talk about side steals, lateral palm, stuff like that. One of my favorites is Gary Kurtz's longitudinal palm, the LTP steal, which is amazing. So we could talk about all of those. So maybe I'll do a 5x5 on that at some point. And do I use the one-handed bottom palm? No, I do not. For 2 reasons. 1, I'm just not very good at it. It doesn't look good. And 2, I've never found a situation where I need to palm a card off the bottom of the deck with one hand. I typically always have 2 hands available to be able to do it. So if I need to palm a card from the bottom, and also a lot of the time, I rarely use the bottom palm. I'm a copper. I tend to cop. I tend to gamble as cop more than bottom palm. So a lot of the time, if I'm having to take a card from the bottom of the deck, it's going to be with the gambler's cop, and I'm going to use 2 hands to do that. So yeah, no, I don't use a one-handed bottom palm. Okay, the last question today is from Adrian Suter, who says, hi Craig, please name 3 tricks that you thought were kind of lame until you watched a brilliant variation. Damn. 3 tricks that I thought were kind of lame until I watched a brilliant variation. Damn. That's hard. That's really hard. Okay. So first, I'm going to put the classic colouring book in there. I always thought the colouring book was old hat, and I never wanted to perform it. And the irony is, I'm more than happy to do it in my kids' show now. I don't very often because I've got other ways of doing a colouring routine, but I'd be more than happy to do the colouring book in my routine. Absolutely not a problem. And I think that the thing that changed that for me was watching a routine by Cody Fisher. So Cody Fisher, many years ago now, brought out a routine that was a little bit like a game show. And it was a bit like, it had a track. I did this for years. In fact, I've still got the track. It had a kind of a backing track. And the whole idea is that you said, hey, I've always wanted to be a game show host. So I sent off for a course to be a game show host. And I'm going to try and do a game show now. And the whole idea is that the track's like, hey, welcome to blah, blah, blah game show. Bring 3 people up on stage to help you. And the whole idea is that you have 3 kids up on stage holding colouring books. And you show that 2 of them are not coloured in and 1 of them is. And you're basically doing 3-card Monty with kids on stage. But it's hilarious because each time you do it, and they're catching where the kid is that they're needing to follow, you're dressing the kids up so they end up looking very, very similar, you know, with fake glasses and fake hats and fake wigs and stuff. It's just brilliant. It's like a 12-minute routine with nothing more than 3 kids on stage with you, a few silly hats, and 3 colouring books. That's the first, that made me sit up and pay attention to the colouring book. And it was only then that I went, oh, wow. And it made me realise that the colouring book is actually a pretty cool trick. So that's one. It's really hard, this is. Really hard. Really, really difficult. I'm trying to think of tricks that I thought were kind of lame. I was never a... Does that count? I suppose it does. I was never a big fan of Matrix or the coin assembly because the only example I'd seen of the coin assembly was that very old school version where you've got a handkerchief on the table and you put the coin under the handkerchief and you kind of steal it underneath the card as you pass it underneath the handkerchief. And I always thought it was a little bit too convoluted. And it was after I'd watched Michael Amar's Easy to Master Coin Magic, and I saw the various different versions of Matrix that he'd put in there that made me realise, oh, actually, this is really good. This is something that I should be learning. So I think I'm going to put Matrix in there as well. And the other thing I'm going to put in is I'm going to put in slush powder routines. I always thought slush powder routines were kind of lame and that slush powder is really just a gag. And it was only when I saw 2 routines at the same time, roughly around about the same time as well, I saw 3 Cup Monty, which was created by Gary Dunn. You can buy that from his, it's on his DVD, which you can get from Practical Magic, which is his magic shop. But I saw John Kimmo perform it live. He actually did it and had Ryland come up and be the volunteer. And that is amazing. That was such a funny routine with slush powder. And at the same time, I saw Justin Willman perform, I think what people now know as the Red Cup of Mystery, where he's got this red cup and he has somebody put the cup on their head and dance around and stuff. That routine, the kind of the Red Cup of Mystery style routine, I saw that at around about the same time that I saw John Kimmons, and I immediately went out and bought some slush powder and put it straight into my act. I was like, oh my God, I need to do this Gary Dunn trick. I need to do this. And I started going down a rabbit warren then of all different routines with slush powder. So those are the 3. There's probably more, but off the top of my head, those are the 3 that I can think of. So there you go, guys. That's another Q&A in the bag. Thank you once again for joining me right here on Magic TV. Now, please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. That's very, very important. And if you want to support the channel, please go and check out the Netrix, www.thenetrix.com. We have over 700 routines up there now, hundreds of sleights, We're adding content up all of the time, and there are some amazing routines on the Netrix. If you want to join the Netrix, you can do so. Try it out for a month, see what all the fuss is about, see why everybody loves it. www.thenetrix.com. We're just putting a massive section on stage magic in there as well. We've just added a gaff deck section. It just continues to grow and grow and grow. Also, don't forget, I'm going to have a really cool review show going up tonight at 9 o'clock, and at 6 o'clock I'm going to have a Magic Live. And if you didn't see the interview yesterday, go and check out the interview, because that's really good as well. Whole bunch of stuff to see here on Magic TV this week, but thank you once again for joining me. I'll see you again soon. My name's Craig from Magic TV.